Hello, everyone. Very, very long time since we had a Zoom podcast, but welcome back to another episode of the SUS podcast and our first revived No New Friends episode with a very special guest to kick off this UAP series that we're doing. She is the courtside reporter for the USC community. Please welcome Sid Oliva. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
So this is a new format that we're doing. We decided this time around to give each correspondent that we have on the show their own time to shine and share their story from the perspective of the school that they're from. Because this basketball season for UAP season 88 will probably go down in history as one of the most insane UAP seasons of all time. And I pray that every season moving forward is like this because if it is, the Philippines is prepared for great, great college basketball for years to come. So let's just get to know you a little bit. So, where did this aspiration to become a correspondent come from? I mean, your course is architecture, so it's not very correlated to sports media and all of that. But every school has their fan base of people who just love watching sports. So how did you connect the dots to get to where you are now?
Well, it all started when I was grade school and then I started going to summer sports camp just for the
Okay.
sake of doing something for the summer. And then I fell in love with the game volleyball. But then I had this dream in my head now, okay, when I'm in college, I'd continue playing. Kaya lang I stopped when the pandemic hit. I stopped playing. I stopped training. So parang like, okay, it's not for me. Being athlete's not for me. But then I wanted to still be like in the court. I enjoyed the atmosphere in the court. So I was like, okay, what else can I do that would get me involved? And then I saw blogs, videos of former correspondents, like they're doing this thing. I'm like, okay, I'd want that. I'd like to be that girl. And then going in, I chose architecture. So I'm like, hindi ka ng schedule. I passed first year, second year, third year. I wanted to audition and I'm like, okay, no, it's not for me. Pero third year, I was like, one way or another in my college life, I'll be a correspondent. So for the whole third year, I would randomly pop by trainings, volleyball, basketball, and then I'd manifest someday I'd be down there. I'd be getting stories. I'd be down there. And then I say, you know what, just do it. I passed my audition. And then surprisingly, I passed the interview, I passed the workshop, and then there's that. I'm the correspondent for UST for season 8A. It's a bonus that UST was the host.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. Massive respect, by the way, because, coming from a course like architecture, no joke, the workload, like you mentioned, nga, and the schedule, everything you have to go through, and then adding to that, the demands of being a correspondent, diba? So you also have your own responsibilities and schedule for that one. So being able to juggle both is, not an easy thing to do, diba? So yeah, it's great. Somehow there seems to be a continuous trend where, say, before we've also had correspondence from previous seasons, um, and they would say that they're from courses not related necessarily to broadcast, because it's very out of left field. Pero somehow, I guess the love for sports and telling stories connects everybody together pa rin, diba? So it's pretty cool to see na, someone from, let's say, architecture can still be, interested in being a correspondent and whatnot like you. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was scary during the interview part because everyone was either comms broadcasting or they're part of
Mm,
Mm,
school radio. And then I'd be the one there like technical course. I'm in architecture. I met someone one from engineering. So it's kind of intimidating in a way. Pero I got through it.
yeah, and I think it's
yeah,
also
diba? So
very reassuring to the future batches na you don't necessarily need to have
yeah,
a background in sports media to be able to do something like this. Like you guys are the peg for inspiration for the future batches that come in. Kahit they're not part of a course that's related to sports or sports media na anyone can do it and do it well.
Yeah, as long as you have the love for in a storytelling and in sports, of course, then you'll be fine, diba? So you can always apply all the stuff that you've learned from your course then naman to being a correspondent. So, with that said, how did your course, architecture, help you in any way throughout your journey as a correspondent?
Well, in architecture, we would always have this criticism like course. It's called the crit. So basically, what we do is we go in front of the class and we explain everything about our design. And I think that part is the specific part that helped me because sometimes you just wing it, the crit. You just want to have your professor accept your design proposals. In that part, you learn how to compose your thoughts in a way that you could create a story that's good enough that would justify what you do. And that's kind of like reporting in sports
Mhm.
in court side. You're kind of giving people you're convincing them that these athletes are more than what you see on court. Like there's something more and there's something you have to know about them for you to really appreciate what they do and what they go through to give you that kind of performance, to get you hooked into the sport that you're watching.
Yeah, great. I'm sure it's hard to like stand in front of a camera, not to mention being in an arena full of, fans like cheering, diba? It must be pretty intimidating nga. Pero like you mentioned, you do have that yung presentation nga during your classes, diba? Which helped in a way.
When we would watch the UAP game, sometimes before it starts, the Bang Tagal, you can see you guys. We can see you guys like from down pre-recording your stuff, and then I'm always thinking like, doesn't this scare them like even a little? Because I don't know, the whole environment surrounding you, like you can barely hear yourself, and then like I'm so in awe that you're
Uh-huh.
able to keep a straight face and not even want to like look around like there's players behind you doing their drills. I would probably be like, oh, who's that? That's ano. And then yeah, so massive respect for having the professionalism to stay composed in probably one of the most trying like environments that is like a sports arena setting. um, I don't know how you guys do it, but massive respect.
You mentioned about the atmosphere. During the latter part of round two, and
Mhm.
then going to semis, very intense na. The drums keep getting louder, like going through the season. So there are moments na you couldn't hear what you're saying, and then you would rewatch yourself, and you could hear your voice break just so marinig yung voice mo through the mic, and it's kind of
Mm.
scary but exciting in a way because parang the beat of the so parang minsan na nakakatulong yung marinig mo yung tunog ng tao, yung marinig mo yung drums, parang it adds the drama of what you're saying and it kind of emphasizes what you want to say.
I respect how correspondents stay composed. I mean, obviously, it's not perfect. You guys, have setbacks
Yeah,
din, di ba? Syempre, mahirap siya eh.
definitely.
But yeah, you guys stay composed, and it's something that I really admire about you guys. Like, wow, you guys really stay focused no matter what. Because if that was me, if I was a correspondent, I would just be all over the place. I wouldn't know what to do, and I'd probably be shaking the entire time. So, ayun. And also, just to um piggyback on what you said about the whole telling the stories of players. I know I really like what you said about that because even the previous correspondents we've had on the show before, they would also say na, yeah, our main goal here is to tell the stories of the athletes because they're more than just athletes. They're also individual people. And so being able to convey their individual stories to people to help them get closer to them and appreciate them more than just being an athlete is pretty cool. One of the things I like about what you guys do.
Yeah, being able to kind of narrate not only like the team story, but like also like each player's story whenever someone is the player of the game of that game. You guys um have a great way of showcasing like that the team is not just one person and that every player is like just as important. That's why everyone is there, right? And to be remembering all of these things that you need to talk about while there's fans screaming in front of you, behind you, while there's players walking beside you. It's just crazy amazing.
You mentioned yung player of the game interviews. I actually told the players like kasi usually it's Collins and then it's Captain Nick. I would tell
Mhm.
them sana hindi kayo ulit yung ma-interview for next time. Kasi I would really want other players to be sitting in that chair and then giving their point of view in the game. Because parang yung goal ko, sana hindi kayo ulit, sana hindi kayo ulit. It's kind of bad to hear in a way, pero it's kind of like one thing that I look forward to after a game. Sana iba naman yung ma-interview ko after for player of the game.
So this is where it's gonna get fun and kind of nerdy-ish. Uh, this is the first time we're doing this with correspondents because usually we get them when they're in the middle of the season and not the end of it. So now that you've seen the whole basketball story and how it unfolded for UST this season 88, we will try and make it as unbiased as we can, coming from two Lasallians watching like one of the scariest teams in the league, kind of just like take over and be at the forefront. All right, so okay, the opening game, UST did one of the craziest things ever and blew out UP without Fortsky Paderao. I remember I was watching that game on and
Yeah.
off on Pinas Live, and I was like, this is gonna be a back and forth, and then UP's just gonna take it near the end. And then Colin Sakoe came out and just like dropped like I don't know what 28 points or something. No one on UP could stop him. Like Kyle Paranada was on fire also.
Yeah.
Nick was on fire. I was in awe because I think UST is the only team this season to blow out UP. Like, right? So that was what set the tone for everyone in the league this season that like it's not gonna be equal sorry, it's not gonna be the cliche picks. It's gonna be equal footing for everyone. Coming off of that game, I think when we watched this live, right? USD and LaSalle. That was the second game of this season.
Mm,
And we were like,
yeah.
okay, they just beat UP, but like feeling ko kaya naman. Like I think Mike can stop Collins, and then halfway through the fourth quarter, we just shut up because we could not believe what we were watching. That was Fortsky's first game back also, and everyone on USD was just like locked in, and they got the lead back against LaSalle and just destroyed us also. So 2 games in at this point, what are you thinking? Because your team is 2-0 and you just beat the two championship contenders from last year.
Well, after the first game, everyone was like in shock. Even the coaches like, damn, we could really have a chance at the final. So they have so much energy in them, and you can see with the players how their morale like got boosted after that game, after the UP game, and then they
For
kept
sure.
talking na, okay, you don't keep thinking about game one. Kasi although I think they won that by 20 points, the
Mhm.
UP game,
I think 21.
and that was surprising, yeah. So to them, they wanted to at least keep their eyes forward and just stop thinking about the game. But still, that was like the moment na the first time I saw Kyle, because game one pa lang, I'm not really close with anyone. The first time I saw Kyle, I was like, yes, he was doing that to me. And then we would have no interaction at all before that game pa, like small interaction like short usa. Pero they would go to me like, yeah, come on. And then I think that one kind of like helped with the team chemistry and team bonding moving forward. Because
Mhm.
UST 2 seasons pa lang sila magkasama, that roster.
Yeah.
So they're kind of still building yung connection nila with each other. And then that kind of like didn't just set the tone for their whole season as a team or as UST, but for who they are as kind of like a family in court. So yeah, I think that was also my breakthrough with them because they're so fun. Like they're kind of opening up to me more. So yeah, I got more stories from that.
Yeah, that was a nice, I think that was a really nice way to like get the whole team to believe in each other more, to do like impossible tasks like
Yeah.
that. Like if I was a UA player and I just like blew out UP and then beat LaSalle, I don't know, parang that's championship level victory na eh. Like that's unreal. I don't first team to do that this year. Yeah. And then okay, so after that it was the NU game, I think. So that was the first loss of
That's
UST.
the long.
Yeah, that was the first time that I saw Collins get kind of flustered. Like it made him more human. If like I'll just use that term na lang. Because everyone was like, Collins is a god. And then
Yeah, it's
like
crazy, man.
no, yeah, and I remember after that game when I watched it, I was like, Collins didn't play bad. He just didn't play as well as the first two games. Like maybe it was because like coming from the NU like bullpups also, right? I think he was a bullpup. He got kind of flustered seeing some of his old teammates again, and like I think him and Omar John were like going back and forth. I remember I was watching that here in my room. I was like, "What is happening?" And he was just like, and that game lasted long. I remember that. Like I think Jake Figueroa saved it for NU after Fortsky ata was trying to keep them in the game. I think I remember that. Yeah. So that was the first time USD lost, and then you beat FEU, you beat UE. So let's break the cluster there first. So you're now 4-1. What are you thinking? This is the halfway point of the first round.
This was before we got the losing streak, no? Uh, during this moment na with the team, I think everyone was they're kind of locking in. They're trying to prove na okay, we're not just Colin Sakoe. We
Mm-hmm.
still have Amiela Sido, we have Crisostomo. That was their mindset. Kasi Collins was really guarded, di ba? The NU, parang
Yeah.
kilala nila si Collins. So everyone was like, okay, let's prove them wrong. Let's show them na okay, there's not just Colin Sakoe in the team. Then biglang Emil stepped up, Jello stepped up, Mark stepped up. So, yun na yung naging mindset nila. Okay, we have to help each other with this in winning this each game. So, if someone's not working, you have to step up on your side. So, yun na yung nagiging mindset ng team. Like, they're really trying to be more proactive in terms of their communication. Okay, I did this bad. Okay, ako bahala sa'yo. Parang ganun na, okay, I got your back. If hindi ka man ako bahala, you don't have to worry. Even the captain, si Nick, si Port. So, if lalabas si Port, okay, ako na bahala, cap. Parang ganun yung naging mindset nila at during that time. Because, yun yung parang nilalabanan nila eh. Okay, it's not just Colin Sakoe. Let me introduce myself. Yun yung mindset nila during that time.
I love that. Kasi, di ba, in basketball, obviously, you can't win every game. Di ba? Eventually, you're gonna lose a couple of games. But despite that, di ba, you guys are one team eh. So, sure, when you win, maganda yung chemistry, the team is happy and whatnot. But also on the flip side, when the team loses, syempre, that's when you reflect also. And I like what you said nga, na even though, okay, they lost some games, pero yung mindset nila was, okay, let's try to rebuild from that, di ba? The other guys, they'll be motivated to step up also because they're gonna realize na, oh, hindi lang naman si Collins yung player natin dito, di ba? So, we're a team, so everybody has to band together, di ba? Because at the end of the day, di ba? So team sport yung basketball. It's not like a one-man show. So I love that what you said nga na in the wins and the losses, the team sort of has this like camaraderie pa rin with each other, di ba? As they navigate through the season nga. So yeah.
I think it helped na they're really trying to keep that connection even off the court, like after training. Like one time I got to join them for lunch, and then uh I kind of like did this thing that I held on to the spoon and fork. Everyone's not seated yet. So Forky kind of like, sabay-sabay kakain, sabay-sabay kakain. And then like, okay, sorry, hold up, I won't eat. And then everyone would be sitting down and then they would be like, okay, prayer first, na magdadasal. And then I kind of found it funny at first because I never thought like that would be them, diba? Like suddenly they're this like kind of person na different sa what I see on court. But it really helped yung ganong bonding nila together. Like that really helped with the camaraderie, even through the lowest point of their career, season or their season 8A.
Yeah, because you guys like, have each other lang talaga to lean on, di ba? If you guys don't have, the togetherness, it's gonna be hard to, perform in the court, di ba? So yeah, love that.
We just finished the halfway point. UST is up 3-1. This is the sorry, wait. Wait. So UP sorry, 4-1 pala, 4-1. You've only lost to NU so far.
Yes.
Okay. This one probably the craziest game of this season. So Ateneo hosts UST in the Blue Eagle Gym. Ateneo is also doing pretty well. I think at this point they're also 4-1. Yeah, they went 4 straight. And then they just lost to UP. Yeah, I remember that game. Okay, so yeah, us and our other best friend, we were trying to watch the rest of the game, and we thought it was gonna be, typical of 4 quarters. So we sat at the bar in Chili's to watch it together with, I don't know if the people beside us were also UST fans because
I think they were you too.
yeah, we were trying to be as confusing as we could because like I also didn't know who to cheer for while watching because the standings was gonna get like I know. So they finish, it goes into overtime, and then second overtime, goes to third overtime, and I thought that the game wasn't gonna end. Yeah, it was. I think at one point it was just back and forth haymakers, right? I remember Fordsky hit like 2 freaking clutch threes feedback, and then there was a play where Bar tried to drive to the basket and Collins blocked him, and they both fell. And then one of the nicest moments for me this season when they helped each other up, and then they were just like hugging each other. I was just like, damn, that's like really good sportsmanship. But that game, it I think that's the first ever triple overtime game in the Final Four era of UAP, and that just I don't know that has cemented itself. I think as something people are gonna look back at and rewatch for a long time to come. So USC wins that game by like I think 7 or 6. I remember in third overtime Nick just took over and then that was it, right? So USC is up 5-1. And then you play against Adamson in the end of the first round, and I don't know what happened. They win. That was a really big shock to me because that totally messed USD, but they end the first at second. So, how did you feel going into the second round with this standing? It's still really good. It's a really good, like plus minus ratio game. What were you feeling at this point when the halfway mark of the season ended?
Yeah, well, coming off that Ateneo game, easily that was my unforgettable moment during for the whole season. Because during the third overtime, we were like, please, gusto na namin umuwi. Finish it, finish it. Everyone was like saying that. And then coming off after the Adamson loss, we were like, okay, it's cool. You came from three overtime and then parang 2 days break and then you have to play Adamson.
Mhm.
That's cool. No worries pa that time. Kasi come on, give them a break. That's like 3 hours for basketball. That's
Yeah,
too
that
long. So parang everyone, even the coaches was like, okay, it's cool. So, yeah, it's cool. So during that time, hindi pa namin feel yung loss pressure.
yeah.
Hindi namin na anticipate na okay, we'll be going on a losing streak. Parang okay, it's time give these guys a break. Yun yung priority ng coaches. They were really given time to break. Na sometimes other sports would magmereklamo sila like, okay, buti pa yung basketball, they would have like a day na walang training because recovery yun talaga yung naging priority nila. They have to recover, especially after that game. So yun lang. After first half, their focus was just recovery and then rebuild after.
The triple overtime game was nuts. Like even us, like when we were watching at Chili's, I thought we were gonna be there the rest of the night. Like I was telling our other friend, this is not gonna end, bro. Like we're just gonna keep staying. Like even Ton, he told us, "Nah, I bet my second overtime though. I bet my triple overtime though." And he kept being right. And I was like, Ton, stop it. Stop jinxing it already. I
No,
want
but
this
okay,
game to
see,
end.
that's how you know both teams are like really, really good. If like
No, yeah, of course. Of course.
after regulation time, you're still going. Imagine how much energy that takes. Like Collins was gassed. That shows the skill level and the heart that you have to just push through and persevere. Kasi what's that? 15 minutes that are not really 15 minutes that ended up being like an extra 1 hour over the 40-minute regulation time. That they were probably dying already. And all the fans, I think the game ended mga 9:30. Like Chili's was gonna close already. And it wasn't done. But it was such a fun experience for us. And that's what got our other friend into basketball also. Like what a first game to like fully pay attention to, and then it's triple overtime pa, like crazy, crazy.
It's kind of one thing that made it memorable because some of the people I know from the crowd would come to me like, grabe, ang tagal, iihi na ako. And then they would run to the restroom, then rush back on the court. And then that kind of atmosphere kind of added to the memorability, like making that day more memorable. It's like after the two overtimes, there's another halftime.
Yeah,
Everyone just
I
like the
remember
referee
that.
just gave the crowd a moment to like breathe.
I was like, okay,
Everyone
guys, I'm
after
gonna
that,
go to
okay,
the
everyone can
banyo
look.
first. Tell me if it continues, because I couldn't
Yeah.
hold it anymore. I was like, I gotta. I was like, for sure, my fourth overtime pa to. I can just go to the banyo muna. But I don't know. I guess it was the will of the basketball gods to just give UST the win. And both teams really deserved it. That's what I loved about that game. Like I think Kamaniladi had cramps already. And Ateneo was still like pushing. I remember Jared Bahay chucked that like three at the end of the second overtime to tie it again. Yeah. And then yeah, that was crazy na talaga. So that's how UST ended their first round. Going into the second round, you were still 5-2, and then they went on like a small like slump, sadly. They lost 3 games in a row, something like that. They lost against LaSalle, they lost against Adamson, and then UP. Yeah, and then UP. And then at that point, like the UST fan base was probably like, oh no, our season is up and down. So at this point, what are you thinking now that like this is the first time this season you're seeing your team with consecutive losses? Like how's the morale in like the dugouts and stuff like that?
During this one, dito talaga yung I got to see extreme emotions, not just from the players, but also the coaches. Because usually they kept their cool. Even first round, usually the coaches was like, okay, bawi tayo. But then after, I mean, you saw their performance first round. So parang the coaches was like, what happened to that performance? So yun
Yeah.
yung naging trigger nila na during the UP game, second UP game, the dugout, before that game pala, it's not even like felt mo yung talo. Everyone was still okay, bawi tayo, bawi tayo. Like, ganun pa din yung energy. It didn't really affect much on the energy and enthusiasm every training. Pero halftime that UP game, it was just the heaviest dugout I have ever been in. Like, even Coach Pido rarely screams. I know it's not Coach Pido, it's Coach Juno.
Mhm.
That he rarely screamed, pero during that halftime, like, he was so mad na parang gusto niya lang, come on guys, show us the first round, like what happened, bring it back, parang ganun, yung pride, bring it back. And then I remember, ito talaga, hindi talaga siya mawala sa isip ko. It was the time na I was trying to really, really, yung presence ko na hindi nila ma-feel. Like, nasa corner lang ako. I was trying to back at the corner. And then Coach Pido would look at me every time he would scream at the team. And I got scared na parang, okay, baka ako na yung susunod niyang sisigawan. Because every time he would scream, he would like, and then look at me again. And then I was like, should I be here? Should I be here? Pero the time it was the lowest point, the halftime of UP game lowest point, everyone was just looking down. You can't even look in their eyes. Like they're kind of guilty in the way. They're showing guilt na parang kaya pa namin eh. There's something we could offer pero hindi nila mapakita during that first part ng second half. So yun.
Yeah, grabe na. Parang UST really... Also, UST and LaSalle, in my opinion, were the ones who really got yung highest of highs and lowest of lows during the season, di ba? Pero it's part of it. It like I said, it builds the team, di ba? Kung walang adversity, di ba, it won't build resiliency. So something like that. But yeah, we feel you guys for you experiencing the lowest of lows nga during the
Yeah, we
season.
were kind of in the same boat too. So
Mm.
our community knows how it feels to have an unstable, well, at this point, 2/3 of the season. So after that,
Yeah.
USD, I think, played UE and then they won that game. So that fixed the slump. And then it was Ateneo again, which both of those teams needed that win. And USD ended up winning. I remember us watching the end of the game. I think it's Mark Liamet who made the final. I think it was free throw. Yeah. He made one or two, and then that was it for that game. And then UST won against FEU also, which was kind of close from what I remember. And then ended the regular season by defeating NU, the only other team beside UP to win against NU, which also like changed the standings a lot.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah, and that booked them a ticket into the Final Four against UP. So, okay, right there at that point, right before the Final Four, how were you feeling? I'm sure the morale of the team was back up. That like for the second straight season in a row, UST was third or fourth place to make it into the Final Four. Yeah.
After that win, parang you mentioned nga, that was like second time pa lang na they would appear Final Four again.
Mhm.
And parang at this point, their mindset would be like, okay, enough with just the Final Four. Iba na yung like goal. The goal is to finals, face another team in the finals, not just the semifinals. So during that time, after that win, you said the morale, it's not just the morale, like even the energy ng not just the main players, even the rookies, everyone was just kind of preparing for the worst and for all scenarios that's gonna happen. Like even the third group, sobrang hinahasa din because they know na it would be a different league na eh. Final Four, different na yung hunger, different na yung aggressiveness, different na yung magiging atmosphere, even the crowd. Like iba na rin yung ina-expect sa kanila. So they kind of get that. So yun na rin yung locked in moment nila after that NU game. Okay, we did eliminations. Now let's focus on this one. Let's finalize place, plans. So yun, parang mas naging concrete lang yung goal nila.
Crazy, no? Up and down talaga. Like, it's such a... And UST ended the regular season on a high note, like to be able to beat the only other team besides UP to kind of mess up the... I mean, and you still ended up at first place, but like UST was able to steal a win away from them, and then to book a ticket back to the Final Four against UP. That on its own is already like an achievement, right? So okay, so we get to the Final Four. We both decided to watch both games. We the LaSalle NU kasi was earlier that day, diba? So me and Mon decided, okay, the UST and UP one is probably gonna be really good also. So let's just stay in Araneta and watch the second game. Because whatever happens, it's gonna be good basketball. So we were happy na LaSalle already beat NU once. We were assured the second game. We went back into the arena to watch the UP and UST, and grabe the fans of both sides. It was like
Crazy.
I had never seen, and UST is already a really, like, their fans are like some of the best and the loudest. So to experience that in like a Final Four level, because this was the do or die game for the Growling Tigers, right? So all the pressure is there already. Plus, like, the thought of being able to steal a win away from UP, who had a perfect second round record except the final game against LaSalle. Like, how was everybody feeling going into this last game? Like right before the buzzer started.
Difference with this game was like their mindset was natalo nga natin sila ng first round without fourth steal. What more na compete kayo guys
Mhm.
facing them on the fourth quarter. Yun dun sila nag-anchor like you guys did it once. You could do it again. Especially after that loss toughened you up.
At halftime, it was close. I think USD was down by a little. Yeah. Because USD started with the lead, and then UP just went on like a 20-22 to something run. And then USD was catching up. Then it was back and forth. Halftime, the three of us moved to a section that had better view because medyo wala ng tao in that part. So we were like, okay, no one's sitting there now. We can move there. So in front of us were like all the UST fans holding up their yellow like inflatable banners, and then third and fourth quarter it was just freaking back and forth, like crazy good basketball. And I honestly thought that UST was gonna push it to 2 games, and then UP was up by 1 after that freaking Terrence Fortea 3 that just quieted like half the arena. And then Nick tried to take that last shot. Had it gone in, UP would have gone down again by 1. But sadly, UST couldn't finish off the game, and this is where the season ended for the Growling Tigers. So even if you guys didn't win the championship, honestly, I would say this was such an impressive showing from everybody. Like the graduating four, I think 4 players graduated. They all had their time to shine. Colin Sakoe just developed into like a monster, and like I'm really worried about him in season 89. The rest of the team, Crisostomo, Mark Liam is still gonna be there. Asido, like all the others, they were able to develop into such great players and key pieces to help UST for years to come. So even if the season didn't end the way that you guys wanted to, like, how did you feel about this whole experience? Like, what were you able to take away, and where did you notice like yourself growing both as not just as a CSR but also as like just a person in general?
A lot actually for the whole season. One thing that I would really take away was I got to go to most of the viewings kasi. And there, I got more wisdom from the coaches. Like, yung mga sinasabi niya sa players, okay, think about this story and then apply it in yourself. Parang it applies to me too. Ganun yung mga nakuha ko from them. Yung wisdom from the coaches, connections with the team. Like, we still see each other, we still greet each other. Only recently, na-meet ko sila ulit sa UST. So, all that, and then add mo na lang yung mga natutunan ko as sports side, my experience with the broadcast team. It's yun yung parang additional na lang yun eh. The connection with the team, my relationship with them, even the coaches. That's really my biggest takeaway for this season. And hopefully it's the same next season for them. You know, nawala na yung other key players nila. Pero you mentioned yung 4 na graduating. During that UP game, actually, that was the game na talagang grabe yung performance nila. Like parang all out talaga. Especially Kyle Paranada and Portsky, Nick, and then Leland. Doon ko talaga grabe nakita yung parang kumbaga, do or die na to. I'll give it my all. Yun yung performance nila. And parang it's worth it na even hindi sila nanalo. They got to show that before they leave UAAP, before they graduate UAAP. They had a good season.
And honestly, you did such an amazing job as the courtside reporter. Like
Yeah.
from beginning to end, yeah, being able to tell the story of the Growling Tigers from the first game all the way until that last Final Four game. Like it may not have been a storybook ending season, but it was definitely like you could see the development in everyone involved on and off the court. And you know, just the fact that you were able to be part of that story of UST for this entire season, that just must feel like such an amazing, it is an amazing accomplishment. Like you should be very, very proud of yourself. Imagine an architecture student being able to balance her school life and then all of this.
Like you said, the season may have been bittersweet, but at the end of the day, you know, a season, there's no such thing as a perfect season. And despite nga the ending, I'm sure everybody from the team, from you, the coaches, everybody involved still got something out of it, you know, lessons, and that they can carry over to the next season and wherever else you guys do. So yeah, congrats pa rin on a successful campaign. And we really appreciate
I
you
know.
sharing your
I think I cried with them after that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would have gotten this season made me so emotional also. Even if I'm not from the other schools, I could feel the team love and like just the community love
Yeah.
surrounding all of the teams this season. That's what makes basketball so freaking beautiful talaga.
I think
Like
that's what matters. That's what matters. It's, you know, some things are bigger than basketball. And I think yung just the whole community getting together despite the wins or the losses. I think that's what matters talaga at the end of the day. Yeah.
yep. All right. So thanks so much, Sid, for being here with us. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we can't wait to see what other stories you're able to bring to the UST community. We can't wait to see you continue to grow through all the games and all the seasons to come. Thank you so much for being with us. It was so nice having you here.
Thank you, Sid.
Thank you for the roller coaster experience.
Yes,
This-
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I enjoyed
Thank
talking to you
you.
guys.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah. Likewise. Yeah.